The Solitaire Series, Episode 40, The King of Spades, by Troy Lambert. Narrated by Troy Lambert. 14 days until Ace's party. Alec. Alec needed two things, quick healing for his hand and an ally. He sat on the bed with the gown open at the back as instructed, and thought, which was more than a dangerous thing. He knew he was smart, but he could look back and see how he'd made some incredibly dumb decisions. His temper had gotten the best of him first, leading to several arrests for assault. Sure, some of those fights had been self-defense, but no one believes a big dude over 6 feet tall who knows martial arts has to defend himself, and he had to admit he'd probably gone a little far. Then Solitaire had given him access to money and a different kind of risk-taking, gambling. Not something he'd struggled with before. He found the idea of easy, quick investments in horses who couldn't lose to be extremely attractive and addictive. Something he had to admit to himself. He'd been addicted all along. From working out to beautiful women to money, and gambling had just added to his list. Having ready cash had been new to him. He'd never been poor, not by the classic definition, but he'd never had extra. As he sat alone, he thought about his options. It seemed like Janice, or Cynthia, or whatever her name was, had partnered up with Bert, at least for now. He could throw in with them, but he felt like he'd be a third wheel, maybe just seen as the muscle. Muscle. Maybe that Fredrick dude. He'd taken a shot to the shoulder, seemed to be in with blackjack, and with Alec's connection to Solitaire, if that still meant anything, they could make a dynamic team. Sure, neither of them would be totally healed by the time Ace's party happened, but Fredrick could get him in, even if he posed as, or became, a double agent, and that inside scoop might give him information from both sides. Jack's idea to unite, to coordinate, was a good one, but he'd only go along as it benefited him and kept him out of trouble. Of course, he'd have to give up the gambling, but if he had something else to pursue, if this Jack guy was right about treasure no one could spend in a lifetime, well, betting on horses seemed like pocket change compared to that. The door clicked and Dr. Larry, the odd but apparently competent doctor, walked in. Sitting, Alec was eye to eye with him. A nurse followed, carrying a tray with a syringe filled with some kind of green liquid. He cringed. "My, aren't you a tall one?" Larry said. "This looked like a classic non-dog person bite. You reached down to pet him before Boris was ready, didn't you?" "I figured that was just nervous growling," Alec said. The nurse laughed, and Alec noticed how pretty she was. Blonde hair, blue eyes, thick but barely visible eyebrows, a cute nose, and a sweet, full mouth filled with straight, white teeth. "Take it from someone else who's not particularly a favorite of dogs," the doctor said. "That's a terrible idea. As I told your friend Bert, this is a new, not entirely approved treatment for dog bites, but with thorough cleaning and a few days' rest, you should heal up nicely." "That sounds great, I suppose. Do either of you know what happened to Fredrick?" "Fredrick? The big linebacker-looking guy? Shot through the shoulder?" "Yes, that's the one. He's set for a quick surgery. Joseph wanted to send him out, but I can do miracles with shoulders as well. We're a bit busy, so roll over, please. Left or right cheek?" Alec laughed. "Doesn't matter." "Not overly much. Either way, sitting will not be your favorite activity for the next several days." "Go for the left, then. Might as well. When will Fredrick be out of surgery?" "Couple of hours. You can stick around if you like. Maybe in here would be best. They're still cleaning the lobby. You'll be sleepy for a bit anyway." "Thanks," Alec said. "Appreciated." The nurse and the doctor left, but the nurse looked back at him and winked as she exited. Alec hoped she would come back, but he had seen all the injuries and hadn't seen any other staff. The two of them seemed to be the only ones running this clinic, so they likely didn't have a lot of spare time. Unfortunate. He'd love to get to know her better. Instead, he laid back on the bed, closed his eyes, and dreamed of cards, treasure, and a life of luxury. But in the back of his mind, he knew all of those things didn't fit together in the same life. Hey! Alec felt a feminine hand tapping his face. "Wake up!" He struggled, opened his eyes, and saw the cute nurse standing over him. "Hey, yourself," he said groggily. "What time is it?" 8. 8? Already? Alec tried to sit up, but his body felt much stiffer than it should have. He also found he needed a restroom, and quickly. "Let me help," she said. "Gotta pee," he managed to gasp. He felt her hand on his shoulder, much stronger than he expected her to be. As he swung his legs over the edge of the bed, he moaned. It was more than just his hand. The beating a couple of weeks ago had healed, but the aching from the bruises remained in his muscles. He found his hand immobile and bandaged tightly over the dog bite. Still, he stumbled to a large door in the corner, went inside, and relieved himself. As he emerged, the nurse grabbed his elbow, guiding him back to the bed. "So, I slept all day?" he asked as he eased himself back down. "And night. It's time for breakfast." "What about Fredrick?" "Still here. You can see him in a bit if you want." "How about now? Can we have breakfast together?" Alec felt a sense of urgency. Alliances were being formed, or so he assumed, and Fredrick would be a great ally. Besides his brute strength, the man was smart. Alec could tell, and between the two of them, they'd be a formidable pair. "Let me see what I can do." She almost looked disappointed, and while Alec sensed it, and would have loved to see what she had in mind, if anything. However, the big picture was more important. He couldn't believe himself and what he'd just said. The big picture? More important than immediate pleasure? She hesitated as she closed the door, and Alec almost said something. Almost. A few minutes later, she returned. "Dr. Larry says the two of you can share breakfast, but then Fredrick will need some more rest. You, however, can leave this morning." Her eyes crawled over his body. "If you want to, that is." "What's your name?" he asked her. "Candace," she said, "but you can call me Candy. All my friends do." "All right, Candy," Alec said. "When breakfast is over, maybe you can help me get ready to go?" She smiled at that. "Sure. Why don't you grab that robe and come with me?" He wrapped a rather nice hospital robe around his shoulders and followed her just a couple doors down the hall. Inside, he found Fredrick, propped up with one arm in a sling, heavily bandaged on that side. Even lying in bed in a hospital gown, the large man was an imposing figure, his shoulders as wide as the bed, his feet sticking off the end. "Thanks, Candy," Alec said. "I'll be back in just a few," she replied. "Hey," Fredrick said when she left. "How's the hand?" "Surprisingly good. How's the shoulder?" "Pretty good. This doc is amazing, at least at medicine." "You know him?" "It was one of my jobs for Ace. I needed to find him, and because I'd heard rumors about certain, we'll just say appetites he has, I had an idea where to look. Found this place, fell into that crazy card game, and here we are." "Ah, my story is not entirely different from yours," Alex said. "Have you heard from Nakamura?" "Nobody." "I don't know where my phone is," the linebacker said. The nurse entered, wheeling 2 trays on a cart. When she removed the metal domes covering them, the smell of bacon, eggs, and coffee reached his nostrils. Alec could see Fredrick's nostrils widen. "Jesus, I'm hungry," he said. "Me too." Fredrick got a tray over his bed, and Candy placed a plate, coffee, juice, and water in front of him. Alec found a chair beside the bed, almost a recliner-type thing, and Candy set him up as well. "Thanks," he told her. She looked from one to the other and left. It took a minute to get started one-handed, but both men managed. "Best hospital food ever," Fredrick mumbled. "I don't think this is a usual hospital," Alec said. "It's not. Larry's a unique guy. A Switzerland between Solitaire, blackjack, and some even lesser-known organizations at the same time. Everyone loves him." "Why?" "Man's a genius, literally. Plastic surgeon mostly, making it possible for even the worst of us to start over. But he's also accomplished in all kinds of other areas as well, and really plugged into the medical black market. He gets drugs and procedures before they are approved, practices and uses them, and reports back to someone, I would imagine." "Yeah, but why isn't he working at some big hospital?" "Well, 2 reasons, really. The first has to do with a patient early in his practice who, well, while she was under, Larry decided he'd make her dreams of being with him come true. Turns out that was her nightmare. I see, Alec said. She was convinced with the right payoff to not say a word. He lost his medical license, and Joseph saw an opportunity. So Joseph is his manager of sorts. He sets up surgeries, keeps him in practice, and makes sure he has everything he needs, including things that satisfy those appetites of his. And in exchange, he's the go-to doc for everyone who needs procedures off the radar, Alec stated. Good gig. This guy is rich as sin, works 6 or 7 days a week, and loves every minute, apparently. And Candy? The nurse? I don't know their names, but he has like 6 of them. One can't even come close to keeping up with his schedule and the round-the-clock nature of this clinic. Got it. A silence descended as they both ate, and then Fredrick looked up at him. Why are you here, Alec? I think I can kind of see what's coming next with Jack and the rest, and I think it's a good idea to set up alliances now, Alec replied. Alliances? The linebacker said, but Alec saw a bit of a smirk on his face. He smiled back. Partnerships. You heard what Jack said. There's treasure. If we can find that deck, more than one person or even a group of people can spend in a lifetime. And you're thinking we need to make moves of our own? Look, I think this is worth so much that finding the deck is inevitable, but that's when the story starts, not ends. We'll be hunting treasure for years, and there's potential for more money than we could ever have imagined. And risk and danger, Fredrick said. Why do you gamble? Alec asked. It's not just the money, is it? It isn't for me. What is it then? You first. Why do you do it? Alec insisted. Ever since I got injured in the NFL, I've been looking for the thing, to scratch that itch. Not only the thrill of the crowd cheering, but the game, the mental game, the physical work, the speed, and the victory. Exactly. The thrill of victory comes with the risk of losing, but when you win, it's magical. But imagine winning, not at a table, but winning over and over again, thousands, millions, thrill after thrill for life. That's what I'm talking about, Fredrick agreed. But someone will have to run this thing, keep people organized, someone everyone can trust. Yeah, well, that won't be us. But whoever rises to the top will be looking for people just like us to go do the work, to run around with maps and keys, finding things for them. I'm happy to give them a cut so I don't have to do it. Who do you think the boss will be? Alec paused and looked at him. Just a short time ago, I would have said Ace, maybe Nakamura. But now I think it might be Jack. Jack? The king of spades doesn't often win over an ace, Alec said, but I think this time that might be the case. Question for you, Fredrick said, a serious one. Yeah? Shoot. What makes you think Jack is not an ace? Alec paused. He really wasn't sure. He shrugged. I don't know. Well, either way, partners, whatever that looks like. Fredrick held out his one good hand. Alec took it with his good hand, and they shook. Partners. Whether coincidental or not, Candy walked in just then. How was breakfast? Good, they said together. Good. Did you have time to talk about what you needed to? She asked. They both nodded. Also good. Fredrick needs his rest. You both do. Alec, come with me. She held out her hand. Alec took it, winked at Fredrick, and followed her out the door. It turned out Alec needed help with the shower before he could get dressed, and Candy was happy to help. Thanks for listening to the Solitaire series, Episode 40, The King of Spades. Stay tuned for Episode 41, The Queen of Spades.